surprised to know how many psychotic police officers work in your PD.
Are you here to help her?
Nah, she's taking me to the hospital.
Come here.
These are the ones that got caught doing some horrible thing. On September 12, 2024, Bowie Police Sergeant Robert Warrington pulled over to help someone he believed was stranded on Collington Road. But in a fraction of a second, he ruined someone's life.
210 76th Avenue.
Go ahead.
Film 197 southbound on the 50 bridge. How you doing? You know her? You here to help her? Are you here to help her?
Nah, she's taking me to the hospital.
Come here. You got a gun.
What I do? What I do?
You got a gun.
I don't have a gun. I don't have a gun.
No! What did you do?
210. Saw me another unit.
What did you do? Why did you do that? Why did you do that?
I'm sorry.
Why would you do that? He just was getting his hand on the side of the road.
210. Saw me.
The bullet hit a car, but no one got hurt. Robert Warrington was indicted by a grand jury on charges including 1 count of attempted second-degree murder, 1 count of first-degree assault, and many more. But this next woman never even got justice for how she was treated. This incident happened in Stanton, North Dakota, Mercer County, where a deputy from the sheriff's office can be seen brutalizing a suspect.
No.
You're not gonna win.
You're not gonna win.
Okay. It's assault.
You're touching me. You're touching me, buddy. You're assaulting me. You're assaulting me.
Get in the car.
You're assaulting me. You're assaulting me.
Get in the car. Get in.
You're
Get in.
assaulting me.
Get in.
You're assaulting me.
Quit kicking me.
You're assaulting me.
Quit kicking me.
This is not being
Get in the
recorded
car.
by my cameras.
Get in the car.
You're assaulting me. You're assaulting me.
Get in the car.
You're assaulting me.
Get in the car.
You're gonna kill me.
Get in the car.
You're gonna kill me.
Get in the car.
Are you gonna kill me?
Get in the car.
Can't breathe. Can't breathe.
Get in the
That
car.
hurts.
Get in.
No, that
Get in.
hurts. They're assaulting me.
Get in.
That hurts. They're assaulting me. You're assaulting me. That hurts.
First of all, here is a grown man who has more strength than her, tying her up and placing her in the car. Should have been tasked to a female officer, but this was only the beginning of the torture on this suspect.
Ow! Ow!
Apparently not. Give me yours.
They're assaulting me. You're assaulting me.
Get in the leg.
You're assaulting me.
Now you just bit me.
You're assaulting me. You're choking me.
Knock it off.
You're choking me.
Get in the car.
You're choking me. You're hurting me.
Put your legs in the car. Get in the car. Are you done? Get in the car.
You're assaulting me.
Get in the car.
You're assaulting me. You're gonna kill me. You're gonna kill me.
Get in the car.
You're killing me. You're killing me. You're killing me.
Clear?
That hurts. Get off. Get off of me.
Get in the car. Get in. Get in the car. Quit resisting arrest. Quit resisting. done?
I can't breathe.
Quit trying to bite and kick us.
You're assaulting me.
Get in the car.
You're assaulting me.
Get in the car.
You're assaulting me.
Get in the car.
You're assaulting me. Ow, that's hurting me.
Get in the
You're
car.
assaulting me.
Knock it off.
You're assaulting me.
Take the
Ow.
dog out. Throw her in that side. Okay. Stop. Stop. Relax. 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 Just relax. All right.
Ow, ow.
The deputy's behavior was inhumane. Now, for the record, this is a statement from the sheriff's office on how they treat citizens. This is a clear violation of the woman's human rights, and in no way does it show the county vouches to protect life. Share this video as much as possible so that word spreads and the woman in this video can receive justice.
Everything's take a picture of me, you understand?
Yo, you see? Now
You got my
wanna
shield
bring
number,
phone?
that's all you need.
On November 28, 2021, Mr. Simon was walking down a street in Brooklyn when NYPD officers jumped out of an unmarked police car and immediately surrounded Simon.
Sure. What do you do about it?
I mean, at least all the questions for officer, what I do, I didn't do nothing wrong. You see me walking on the streets.
Yes, that's what we're stopping. If you see me walking on the streets.
Do you see me walking on the streets? Because I'm smoking my spliff, walking on the streets?
That's right.
That's not illegal, man. I didn't know y'all was doing that. That's what I'm doing now. Is just pulling people over for no reason. Mad embarrassing, man. You can ask him, I just came out of there eating burger and all of that, man.
Yeah, you can make a burger there.
Taking off my shirt, all of this stuff.
Spray lights, spray lights.
Grab it. No, man, I'm just saying, you grabbing my doors and all of that, man, that shit was crazy.
They were treating Mr. Simon like he was some kind of fugitive on the run. They frisked him and disrespected him. And this is when Simon finally snapped.
Yo,
What you got?
what are you talking? Yo, you want me to take off my pants, man?
Yo,
Come on.
relax, don't reach,
Yo,
alright?
come on, don't do that.
You don't do that,
grabbing on my
You don't do that, alright? Alright, you
Yo.
go ahead, you search it.
Come on, man.
You want to comfortable? Search, what?
Come on, man. Look, you want me to take off my pants?
No.
You
Don't
don't have
do
to take off my. You want to grab my everything, man? What's wrong with you, man? That's some disrespectful. I told you I work, and you want to. Why you so intense for?
Listen.
You just grabbing my man. You did grab my
Everything's on camera, bro.
You grab my. That's right. You grab my man. Yo, get the me, man. Nah, ain't no man. What's your name? What's your
Officer,
you something? Are you a
shield
Are
number
you?
1, 2.
That's right. That's right. Hold up. Let me take my picture of you.
Alright.
Cause you want to grab my. You want to hear about me tomorrow morning. You want to hear about me.
What's even worse is that one officer tried to strip Simon, which does count as sexual harassment. So Simon took out his camera to capture the face of his assaulter, but the cop did not like being filmed.
You want to hear about me. You want to hear about me
Want a business
tomorrow
card,
morning? Nah, I don't want no business card. I don't want no business card. Right here. Come 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 right here. Don't grab my phone. Don't grab. Yo, bro, you see this, right?
Everything's okay.
Grab my and everything, man. The right here.
Everything's okay. Take a picture of me, you understand?
Yo, you see? Now
You got my
wanna
shield
break
number,
phone?
that's all you need.
Outta
My
here.
shield number, that's it.
Hey, you broke my phone.
Well, I told you not to take a picture of me. You cannot do that, alright?
Yo, you see this, right? They broke my phone. So
Everything's
who's
on
gonna pay
camera.
for my phone?
Everything's on camera.
Who's gonna pay for my phone? After you done grab my
I told you not to take a picture of us.
What are you talking about?
Can't take a
You're a
picture of
public
us.
servant. I can take a picture
All you
of
get
you.
is our name and shit.
I can take a picture of you. You're a public
Not when
servant.
you're too close
You
to
sign up to that. What are you talking about? You taking me grabbing my phone?
No, you cannot take a
You
picture that
grab
close.
my You grab my and you gonna remember me for doing that. You a crabby. You broke my phone. That's a $1,000 phone. Who gonna pay for my phone? Why you biting your lips? Why you biting your lips? You feel intimidated by me? You grab my. You grab my.
I have an idea, you?
Yeah? I don't need a ID.
You have an ID on you?
Yeah, I got a ID
can I
on
see your
me.
ID?
For what? For what?
I see your ID?
What you want my ID for?
Can I see your ID? Oh, you don't want to give you your ID?
No, don't worry. I got you. And I'm pretty sure people recorded right
You
here.
want to
Everything's
your
being
ID?
recorded.
Yeah,
We've been recording
that's right.
since jump,
All right, I
man.
got y'all.
Alright.
I got
Alright?
you.
Alright.
I got you, grabbing my destroy my phone.
Alright, 91. 91.
The three officers fled the scene, but then later came back when they realized how bad of a lawsuit they were going to face.
Remember this new face. These
coming
dudes
from-
right
it's
here.
coming from
Nah. Hey, you a sergeant?
No, it's just me. It's just
That's
me.
what you doing?
It's just
That's what
me.
you doing? That's what you training them
just
to pay for that.
Come.
Y'all gonna for that.
Sir, come.
You and your goons. Y'all running
Come.
around like that's some
Come, we talking
Ain't no
business.
talking no more. Ain't no talking. Especially you. Especially you. You want you want you wild stinking ass Mexican.
By myself to talk to you.
I don't get. You was right there.
I'm gonna tell you.
Listen to me. And you a sergeant?
Yes.
You see this? And you a sergeant? You got them conducting themselves like that?
We'll talk. I don't want your business to get out.
I ain't got nothing to say to you,
What do you want to do?
I already told you what I'm gonna do. I know the procedure. I'm gonna call. I'm gonna get superior, and I'm gonna fix some charges on this here for grabbing my.
So you want to go to the hospital?
No, yeah, I'm waiting for the ambulance.
Okay.
I'm waiting for the ambulance.
But I have to document it for you.
No, I don't want you, because you was right here. You part of the incident.
I'll take the report for you.
No, you ain't gonna take no report. You gonna take the report when it comes to whoever else is going down from. Because that's why y'all ain't playing games, touching the right people.
Okay, here's the
Y'all
thing.
gonna pay, especially these little predator right here.
Listen.
Touching. Don't touch me, bro.
I'm not gonna touch you.
Don't touch me. Don't touch. I don't want to talk to you. I told you. You part of the incident.
I'm gonna help
so
you.
You can't. No, you can't help me, bro.
You want me to document it?
I'm gonna talk to the lawyer. No, not you. Not you. I talk to somebody else. Not you, because you stood right there. Y'all here acting like some hooligans. With the right one, y'all grabbing up on my. Now I gotta go to the hospital.
Okay.
Simon wanted nothing to do with the people who had assaulted him. He was definitely going to see them in court, and they knew they were screwed.
This nigga right here, look, babe. Now he wanna talk. Look at him. And he a sergeant. He supposed to be an example for these right here, son. Grown ass. Alright. I got them, though. Like I said, since you giving out sandwiches.
3. 7 over 2 3.
Yeah, nigga grab me
Coming from
right now.
Foster Avenue and Bedford Avenue.
Right here, Look at my shit swollen.
So you want to make a complaint?
Look at like I said, I don't want to talk to you, officer. I don't want to talk to you at your chest. You let them do all that foul shit right there.
Okay, here's the thing.
No.
I'll make the complaint for you.
No, I don't need your complaint. Yeah, screenshot him. That's the sergeant. Look. You see him?
Simpson 4899.
Don't worry, I got him. Everything is videotaped. I'm gonna call you when I get to the hospital, babe.
So one more time, you're not gonna give me no info?
Yo, excuse me. I don't want this, guys. These guys around me or just assaulting me. I was over there,
Simon is working on filing a big lawsuit. In the meantime, this incident sparked an internal investigation over Simon's allegations, but so far the officers involved have suffered no punishment. We hope that changes soon. Some judges are harsh with their judgment when it comes to the incompetence of police officers, especially David Fleischer, a Harris County Criminal Court judge from Texas.
Sorry, David.
You made it out.
Yes, I did.
Just, we're not asking for much, man. Just be careful, behave. Don't do anything you shouldn't do, you know? Is those cases are still open in Fort Bend or what?
The case is still open in Fort Bend. It's still pending. Your next court date is down there.
It's on March. Not all the cases are open.
One of them still open. Paul two's representing him. I talked to Paul yesterday, and it's set for sometime in March. I can't recall the exact
It's okay.
date.
Have we done PC on this yet or no?
We haven't done anything. He was in custody.
Right. Okay, so we're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. I just want to see if there's enough to go forward on your case. I don't know what happened. Okay, Alex, please.
Yes, Judge. On September 4th, 2024, the officer observed a hand-to-hand transaction between the driver of a parked vehicle and another individual. The defendant was a passenger in the vehicle, and the officer approached and smelled a strong odor of marijuana. The officer asked the defendant to step out of the vehicle and saw in plain view a scale in the driver's side door, and the officer detained the defendant and the driver. The officer found a bag of marijuana in the defendant's waistband pursuant to a pat-down, and the weight of the marijuana was 1.27 ounces.
Are you telling me he saw him do a hand-to-hand transaction or someone else?
The driver of the vehicle was a hand-to-hand transaction, and when he approached the vehicle, he asked the defendant and the driver who did the hand-to-hand transaction to exit.
The cop's own lawyer sealed his fate when he told the judge that the man wasn't even involved in the hand-to-hand deal. He was just a passenger sitting in the seat. That's it. And they still dragged him to court.
And furthermore, the officer smelled an odor of marijuana.
I know, but why would he search him?
What?
I get it on the driver because he sees the hand-to-hand contact with them, but he's just sitting there.
Your Honor, the only thing would be officer safety, just the pat down.
Nah. All right, Mr. Barnes, I'm going to find no probable cause. Just be careful. All right? Really. You hang with dogs, what happens?
The judge wasn't buying whatever the lawyer had to say. He made it clear that they had arrested the wrong man. No excuses, no justification. One corrupt cop gets served justice, but the next case will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about these officers.
I think the officer's reading in between the lines that this may be more trouble than it's worth.
On June 30th, 2023, Miss Brenner Rome was pulled over by Deputy Morse for speeding, a claim that quickly proved false. But instead of correcting the error, it led them to be in court.
Miss Brenner Rome, you're here on this citation for 1 to 5 over speeding to do one of three things. First is you could admit responsibility to the citation. 2, admit responsibility, but you'd like to provide explanation to the court as to how or why this happened. Or 3, you wish to contest this citation, in other words, fight the ticket at what we call informal hearing. What were you looking to do?
I believe I'm looking to do the third, I believe.
All right. Then I'm going to go ahead and swear you both in. If you could raise your right hand, same as the deputy. Swear or affirm any testimony you'd give here today would be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
I do.
It makes a lot more sense for me to start with the officer. He has the burden to establish to me why he issued you a citation in the first place. But after that, you'd have an opportunity to either ask questions or testify on your own behalf, all right?
Thank you, Your Honor.
And with that, Deputy, you want to pick up the narrative somewhere where it makes sense, explain the issuing of this citation?
Sure. I was conducting moving radar southbound on Patterson Road. The suspect was northbound on Patterson Road in the 35 zone. It was the only vehicle in the operating zone of the radar. I detected 50 in a 35, and my radar was calibrated to an independently calibrated speedometer. I also had audio-visual match on the suspect vehicle. And then when I made contact with the suspect, the defendant, Brooke Romp, she had stated that she was going 40 or 50 in the 35 zone.
Ms. Brenner knew the law all too well to fall for the deputy's tricks. She stood up for herself in the court and refused to be cornered.
The section of roadway in question is not, it has not been, the safety study has not happened. On August 1st...
How did you determine that, ma'am?
I'll continue. On August 1st, 2023 at 15:08 hours, contact was made with John at the Allegan County Road Commission, who advised his title was Traffic and Safety Advisor. He advised this section of roadway in question has not had an engineering and safety study conducted on it, and the speed limit was set in 1993 under a traffic control order. He advised the road was zoned as all right-of-way and not as residential or in any other manner in which would require the speed limit to default to. Under the statute that we are going over, MCL 257.628, Section 2, subsection A states the proposed change of speed limit without the necessity of a speed study consistent with the methods prescribed for establishing speed limits under 627. MCL 257.627, Section 2, subsection H indicates for a 35 mile per hour zone to be established without a speed study, there must be no less than 45 vehicular access points, but no more than 49 vehicular access points within the half mile. The section of roadway in question does not meet or qualify the number of access points for the section of roadway to be 35 miles per hour, as it does not have 45 vehicular access points within the half mile section in question.
How many does it have?
This morning when I drove through, I counted, and it has, in that half mile section, it has 24. That was my count. I'm not the expert on the safety study, but when I counted, it has
The fact that the system can claim something happened just to help you only proves that they can do the same to lock you up.
I'm going to make a long story short here. What you're asking for is formal hearing because you're challenging statute. At informal hearing, you would be challenging speed. You need to, and what I'm going to do is they'll reset this for formal hearing. That involves the prosecutor's office in front of the district court judges. That's who you'd have to make this argument in front of. So I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying you're beyond what we do for informal hearing with this particular vein of challenge. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you will get reset for formal hearing. You'll get new notice out. We just need to make sure. I mean, I'm sure we have good address for you here. Edwin Drive in Wayland.
Yes, that's correct, sir.
All right.
Your Honor.
So,
may I ask another
yes.
question? Okay. If you find Officer Morse in favor, if you find in favor of him, I would just like to ask him if he would be willing to amend the citation to a non-moving violation while keeping the costs and fines the same. I'm willing to pay that. I just would not like the points on my license.
let me ask you a different question. There is one speeder that you get no points for. It is 1 to 5 over speeder like you have, but instead of not on expressway, it is on unlimited access. In other words, if the speeder you were looking at was 1 to 5 over limited access, you would pay the same fine, but you would get 0 points for it instead of this one, which is 2 points.
Okay.
Is that acceptable? Is that what you mean by a no points?
I would just like to, if he could amend it to a non-moving violation.
Well, I'm not going to ask him to do that. I would ask him to move it to a no point speeder. But if you want a non-moving violation, you'll have to go to formal hearing and see if the prosecutor would accept that.
It is satisfying to watch her confidently present the law to the judge while the cop sits there, clearly not expecting to be outmatched.
Okay, so I just want to just make sure that I understand you correctly. So if we ask him to amend it to the limited access, then I would pay the same fines. I would just have no points on my license.
Correct.
Okay. I'm willing. Sorry, go ahead, Deputy Morris.
I'm fine with that. If we want to amend it to a 1 to 5 limited access and do the no points, I'm fine with that. If
I think that's 627C. All right, so just so you understand this, Ms. Brenner-Rump, I'm going to explain this to you because it sounds like you want to know this rather than it just magically happening. It's a little bit of a legal fallacy because now we're going to say you're going 72 miles an hour, but in a 70-mile-an-hour zone, that's what's called limited access, meaning you have to ramp on and off, like 131 or I-196. That's what gets you 0 points and the $100 fine still. So what I'm going to do is now say we're amending to that citation that's saying you're going 72 and a 70 unlimited access. We do this quite frequently, but I don't do it at my discretion because I'm judicial branch. But I would always do it at executive branch's discretion, which is the officer. I think the officer's reading in between the lines that this may be more trouble than it's worth to go down this road, and you might be correct, and they have a problem with the whole speed limit on that stretch.
What is truly alarming is that both the judge and the officer agreed to lie on a modified citation, claiming that she was doing 72 in a 70 when in reality she was on a 35-mile-per-hour road.
He's willing to do it, you're willing to do it, we would end this now, you would get no points, but you would still be paying the $100 fines it costs.
I'm fine with that.
All right, then that's how we will proceed. You want to give it a few hours though before you call to pay because they need to see that I changed it rather than you paying on the one that you have right now. All right?
So like this afternoon?
Even later this morning is fine because I'm at about 11 they'd be ready.
Okay. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now this is exactly why people need to do their research. It is the only real defense against being trapped in situations like this. This cop thought he was untouchable, but his humiliation was nothing compared to what is coming next.
On the unclassified felony of armed criminal action, I sentence you to a term of incarceration of 6 years in the Missouri Department of Corrections.
On December 3rd, 2019, Officer Eric DeValkenair was called to a scene where a man was reportedly chasing his girlfriend in a pickup truck. The officer reached his home and asked him to step out. But what happened next left everyone stunned. When the man did not obey, the officer fired 2 shots, killing him instantly. The officer was later charged with murder, and after a long trial, the court reached a verdict.
Eric DeValkenair on count 1, the Class E felony of involuntary manslaughter in the 2nd degree, I sentence you to a term of incarceration in the Missouri Division of Adult Institutions of 3 years. On the unclassified felony of armed criminal action, I sentence you to a term of incarceration of 6 years in the Missouri Department of Corrections. Those cases, or rather those counts and sentences, will run concurrent with one another for a total term of incarceration of 6 years. The parties have a right to expect that no matter what I hear, I will only consider factors that are appropriate and that I will disregard those that are inappropriate. And that is what I've done here. And as a result, I've concluded as follows. There are a number of facts in this case that are both aggravating and mitigating, sometimes all at the same time. First and foremost is this undeniable and uncontested fact. Cameron Lamb is dead. And Eric DeValkenair killed him. That's undisputed. Cameron Lamb was by all accounts a helpful and loving son, brother, father, and friend. People who have contacted me and who I have heard from today have described him as funny, caring, giving. Miss Gray called him a protector, a jokester, and my favorite of all the ones that I read, not a saint, but our angel. Parties have a right to expect that no matter what I hear, I will only consider factors that are appropriate and that I will disregard those that are inappropriate. And that is what I've done here, and as a result, I've concluded as follows. There are a number of facts in this case that are both aggravating and mitigating, sometimes all at the same time. First and foremost is this undeniable and uncontested fact. Cameron Lamb is dead. And Eric DeValconaire killed him. That's undisputed. Cameron Lamb was by all accounts a helpful and loving son, brother, father, and friend. People who have contacted me and who I have heard from today have described him as funny, caring, giving. Miss Gray called him a protector, a jokester, and my favorite of all the ones that I read, not a saint, but our angel. Cameron Lamb's death leaves an irreparable and unfillable void in the lives of his family and his friends, and also in our community. Also, as I'm weighing all these facts, it can't be overlooked that the events of December 3rd of 2019 were initially set into motion by Cameron Lamb and his decision to chase his girlfriend through city streets at dangerously high speeds, putting motorists and other members of the public at risk. However, those events tragically concluded with the actions of Troy Schwam and the defendant pulling up to defendant's house, Sergeant Schwam pulling into the driveway, immediately getting out with his weapon drawn, rapidly moving into the backyard, carport, garage area of the house, and defendant doing the same. Both without taking a breath, without pausing for the briefest of moments to consider where they were going, what they would find when they got back there, whether they were acting lawfully in doing so, and whether there might be some other safer option, without so much as a, "Hey Troy, wait." At any point, Sergeant Schwam and the defendant could have done this.
Even though Cameron Lamb, the victim, was not reaching for a gun, the officer nonetheless fired. The humiliated police officer sat silently, listening to Judge Young's detailed account of the event.
A fact that is made even more aggravating as the court considers an appropriate sentence in this case by the fact that the one person who ultimately did take a breath that morning was Cameron Lamb. He did this when at some point, while he was chasing his girlfriend, he decided to discontinue the chase and to go home. The video from the helicopter shows this decision, shows how it played out. Cameron Lamb is not racing through the streets of his neighborhood at this point. He's not driving through yards to get away from anyone. He does not abandon the truck and let it roll into someone's yard while he flees on foot. Rather, he simply pulls into the driveway of his home, pulls around back, puts the vehicle into reverse, and slowly begins backing it down the driveway under the carport and into his garage. Then Sergeant Schwam and Eric DeValconaire arrive, and as the court has found, an encounter that was over and a situation that had de-escalated was again escalated by what I have found, rightly or wrongly, was their unlawful entry into the backyard carport area and confrontation of Cameron Lamb. This is an aggravating factor.
This tragic case is a clear example of officers overstepping their authority. Without a warrant, they entered Cameron Lamb's property, and within moments, the innocent man was shot dead inside his home.
The circumstances of the offense as described during the trial, however, also provide the court with a mitigating factor. I found, as I've considered the evidence in the case, that the defendant, Eric DeValconaire, testified credibly at trial that he was rushing to provide cover for Sergeant Schwam, who had rushed into the backyard with his weapon drawn, prompting the defendant to do the same from the other side of the house. Although not in the court's view, again, rightly or wrongly, negating his obligation to act with reasonable care, as the court found he has failed to do, his natural reaction to protect his partner is a factor for me to also consider. And let's also be clear, and It is hard to accept this distinction. I know that. Murder and involuntary manslaughter arising from criminal negligence are two different things. They are different legal concepts. They are different things. Eric DeValconaire is not Derek Chauvin, George Floyd. Eric DeValconaire is not one of the 3 men in Georgia convicted of running down and murdering Ahmaud Arbery. This is a mitigating factor. Defendant has no prior criminal history. His ORAS scores him as a low risk in all categories. Defendant's history as a police officer, husband and father, friend and colleague is also a mitigating factor that I have taken into account, as his father asked me to do, which I was already going to do, and that is to consider the totality of the circumstances and to consider the totality of the defendant's life. The facts and the circumstances in the history of defendant's career and his life that have been presented to this court have demonstrated he has not hesitated to immediately take action when he believed the circumstances surrounding him warranted it. And this trait has generally served him and others well. It also failed him.
It was disheartening to watch the judge lean toward the officer, especially in a case that seemed like a clear-cut murder.
All of which, however, leads the court back to where it began, an evaluation of the impact of the defendant's crime on Cameron Lamb and his family. Cameron Lamb is dead. Eric DeValconaire killed him. And the court has found that that happened because the defendant acted without considering or being aware of the substantial and unjustifiable risks associated with his conduct, and that his actions were a gross deviation from the standard of care that a reasonable person would exercise in the situation. Having concluded, as I have, having considered all those factors, I ask counsel if there's any legal reason or cause having been shown why sentence and judgment of the court should not now be pronounced.
Not from the state.
No, sir.
Eric DeValconaire on count 1, the Class E felony of involuntary manslaughter in the second degree, I sentence you to a term of incarceration in the Missouri Division of Adult Institutions of 3 years. On the unclassified felony of armed criminal action, I sentence you to a term of incarceration of 6 years in the Missouri Department of Corrections.
Despite being found guilty of Cameron Lamb, Eric was sentenced to just 6 years in prison, a punishment that many believe was clearly reduced because he was a cop. Next, watch how this tyrant was caught breaking the law and was owned in a deposition.
We don't even get evaluated well if we have a bunch of warnings and a less amount of tickets.
Unchecked authority often leads to justice collapsing, and that is exactly what happened with these tyrant cops. But the truth caught up quickly, and the courtroom humbled them, just like this tyrant who was caught writing false tickets.
I've always tried to keep my tickets kind of bound with my warning.
In July of 2024, Arkansas State Trooper Legarian Cross unlawfully pulled over an individual and issued him a ticket. The citizen contested it and filed a complaint, triggering an internal investigation.
What's been going on with you in writing certain warnings, and how many, and just kind of let us know.
6 to 8 months ago, I went to a roller paper style instead of the style putting inside of the printer. I went to a roller style. When we first had those roller paper, it was kind of at the troop headquarters. It was we were kind of short on paper. So I was speaking to another trooper, and he advised me, man, a lot of time I don't give out paper to people for warning. I just give them paper for citations. So at that time, I took that method up as well, started doing that. And at the same time, when I took that method up, I became lazy and stuff like that, and not explaining to people that I have given them a warning.
The trooper thought he would get away with writing unlawful tickets like he used to, but he had no clue. He had messed up with the wrong person. Keep watching. Detective completely owns him.
If you never asked for the registration, they didn't give it to you, what was your reason for even printing it?
I don't have a reason. I guess because when I was sitting there, I was like, well, I don't have the registration card. I click on it and give me the registration card and just get a warning out of it. But other than that, I don't really have a reason to. Because majority of the time, I asked them for the registration card, and if I didn't get it, I go back and write a warning. But I won't give them a copy and explain to them that I gave them a warning.
It turns out the deputies have quotas to fill and would unlawfully write tickets without any fear. However, today, this tyrant was about to be exposed.
So every day you would generate a warning regardless of whatever they had or didn't have.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I just about every day. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Like every stop I had, if I could stop them for speeding, I'd click if they didn't give me the registration card, I'd click. There was a lot of times I did ask. I don't have an exact number, but I call myself go back and watch some of my videos after all this came out. But some of them, a lot of them, I did ask for registration card and they didn't provide it to me. And whenever they didn't provide it to me, I go back and I click for your display registration card. And but like I said, my mistake, I didn't explain to them that I gave them a warning for that.
The detective was taking him down and finally asking a direct question, which immediately exposed the corrupt practices inside the department.
So this became a habit of yours?
Yes, ma'am.
And were you intentionally doing this to pad your reports? To create more numbers?
I really won't know that. I think I just got reckless with it and just became a habit.
Explain that. What do you mean reckless with it?
Because I became lazy by not printing that paper off and taking the time out to explain to them, hey, ma'am, I gave you a warning for this or I gave you a warning for that. I just give them a citation and go on by my day.
But you didn't have to provide that warning in every one of those situations, did you?
No, ma'am, and there were times I didn't.
Was there a need to even provide it, every one of those situations?
No, ma'am.
The worst part, the deputy still believes he did nothing wrong, showing just how deeply corruption is embedded in the department. This level of misconduct has gone unchecked for far too long.
What made you do it for some and not others?
I don't have a reason.
You didn't request their registration, so why would you think they would have a problem?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you think that was a problem?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
On whose part? Yours or theirs?
On my part.
Nothing. Because you had a high number of warnings as well. Is that something that you do? Provide a lot of warnings for speeding?
Yes, ma'am. I usually try to keep mine half and half on speeding on the contacts and also on warnings. But my warnings usually be failure to display registration or unsafe vehicle.
Okay.
This clown in the costume should no longer be a cop, and you will be stunned to hear what he has to say next.
Do you feel like you was falsifying information?
Yes, ma'am. After it belonged to me, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do you think you violated policy?
Yes, ma'am.
You do? Which one?
The reports on inaccurate and stuff like that.
Okay. What about any citations? Did you ever falsify any citations?
No, never any of those.
And do you know if anyone else is doing anything like this?
I don't know anyone else that's doing the same thing, want to advise them or stuff like that, but I do know that, I was, that.
The one thing that I'm trying to find out is were you doing this to increase your numbers of contact, or was it that they did have this violation?
Yes, ma'am. Well, and let me explain on that right there. Every time I did it, like when if I asked for it and I didn't get it, I would do it. But there were some times that I didn't even ask for it.
Right.
And I went back and I got back to my car and it was my fault again. I was back there at the car and I don't have it back there, so I don't have the registration card, and I just click, just get the contact.
The detectives opted for a short break and returned to ask them even more hard-hitting questions, to which the corrupt cop really had no answer, but only more weak excuses.
Were there ever times that you were thinking that if I don't ask, then I have a contact, but if I ask, they may provide it and have it signed, and I won't be able to get a contact off of that one?
I never had that thought, because it was just a warning to me. We don't even get evaluated well if we have a bunch of warnings and a less amount of tickets.
Okay.
So I already know that. I try to always, if you go back and look at my record, I've always tried to keep my tickets kind of balanced with my warning, because a lot of times you get frowned upon if you got 140 warnings and 30 tickets.
Okay.
So I try to keep it. It won't never.
Okay.
So I try to keep it a little, keep my stuff balanced. Just by getting that, I ain't gonna ask them for just get a contact. I already knew a warning ain't gonna really help me out too much,
right,
because they look at that. Well, you got 140 warnings, you got 30 tickets. I'm not gonna gain anything from me anyway, you know.
It is truly sad to see the condition of this police department, and this is the reason why cops are hated all over the country. Desperate to save himself, Deputy Cross started throwing his entire department under the bus.
Every department, every troop I work for, they always look at, you got 131, you only got 35 tickets. I ain't gonna do it. Because I always try to keep it kind of balanced.
Did you think it was a problem even before this was brought to your attention?
To be honest with you, ma'am, I really didn't. I didn't think nothing about it. But I look back at it, yeah. You know, if I got a warrant, I want somebody to tell me, hey, I gave you a warrant for not signing your registration card back. And every time, sometimes I did, you know, tell them, hey, you need to sign this back. But majority of the time I didn't. And if I got that warrant, I want somebody to tell me that, hey, man, sign the back of this, or you got a license plate lot at the back. Make sure you put above back there.
Okay. Okay, so you're not making up grade or anything like that. Got it.
The guy that trained me, he averaged 2.0 average. I mean, I averaged about 1.2, 1.3, but when he trained me to look for everything. Okay. You know, just to get more contact, stuff like that. It was just, you know, if you're out here working, you might well go, you know, if you're out here working, so.
Deputy Cross's nervous demeanor indicated that he had made quite a mess. The interrogation didn't just expose him, but revealed deep corruption within the entire department.
This is nothing new, nothing created. No one trying to pad your reports, trying to get more numbers.
Now, if you ask me, he should have been relieved of his duties. But I guess the sheriff had a soft spot for his trusted tyrant. And that is all for today. If you liked the video, subscribe so that you don't miss out on our next upload. And thank you for watching.